back to another episode of The Everyday Father. I'm your host, Charles Schultz, and I don't know where you're at in this country or this world, but this week in Ohio has been beautiful. And when the weather starts to turn like this, even if it's just for a little bit, because let's be honest, February is not typically good weather in Ohio. It's usually three degrees, freezing cold, windy, snow and gray and just awful. But this week, yesterday was 61 degrees. There was sun, and when I get moments like this, especially in the heart of winter, I really try hard to make it a priority to get outside, go do some activities, and enjoy the beautiful outdoors. And that is the main focus for this week's primary talk. Is a lot of people struggle with their health because we are too sedentary as a nation, as a world. I mean, heck, I'm sitting down currently recording this video. We sit far too much, but there are solutions to that. There are ways to incorporate movement into your life. If you are stuck at a desk for your work, make sure you schedule breaks where you get up and you walk around. If it's your home, get outside and walk around the neighborhood. If it's at a job in an office, go and walk between the cubicles or head to the break room or get a bathroom break or walk all the way down to your car and back, pretend like you left something there if they're strict on you getting up from your desk. Ultimately, we need movement in our life. It lubricates the body. Movement is medicine. And the more you move, the more calories you burn, the more energy you get, the better you feel. And it's a great starting point. If you're somebody who is struggling, you've gained weight, you've lost energy, you just don't feel good, start moving. I don't care how, I don't care how far, I don't care how often, but you need to start to up what you're currently doing. Ultimately, I'd love to see everyone get to that 10,000 step mark. I know just a random generic number in a lot of people's eyes, but there's something to that. If you can't get 10,000, do 7,500. If you can't do 7,500, start with 5,000. But if you're stuck at a low number, add 1,000 a week. Start small. It doesn't have to be huge. For me, I love adding in movement in a couple ways. This week, since it was nice out, we went for a walk. And when we go for walks with my kids, it's not really exercise for me because they don't go fast enough yet. They're too small. So to help make it harder on myself, I turn it into a ruck. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the rucking concept, you take a backpack, you throw it on your back, you put some weight in it, and you head out and do your thing. I'll talk more about that in the home gym section. I'll show you my ruck. But this alone makes it more valuable for my time because I'm getting my family time. I'm getting my time with my kids. We get out into nature, and I make it a little hard on myself because I throw a 45-pound plus backpack on and usually end up with a kid on my shoulder by the time the walk's over. So by that point, it's up over 75, 80 pounds, depending on the kid. And, it turns into a decent little exercise piece for me. The other thing that I do that I think is extremely useful, if you are working out and you're just not getting the results you want and you don't like cardio, walk between sets. For me, since my gym's in my house, I throw the garage doors open. I'll do my set. I'll walk all the way to the end of the driveway and then back. Depending on the weight of the set or the level of intensity, I might do two. And then there are also times when, my son wants to come outside with me and I'll walk to the end of the drive and then I'll race him back up. And again, I'll do one, I'll do two, but you throw in a few of those as over the course of a 45-minute to an hour workout. It's a pretty solid amount of steps. And now all of a sudden we're not as stationary. We're not as sedentary. There's this misconception that, it's easy to stay in shape if you're a trainer, but if you think about it, the trainer isn't lifting weights typically. We sit and we program, and then we walk around, and then we kneel down, we point, we demonstrate 1 or 2 reps, we spot occasionally, but it's not working out. It's a relatively sedentary job with the expectation of having an active lifestyle. Now, granted, most trainers work in gyms, yes. And that gives us easy access to the equipment, to the stuff available to help us get in shape. But how often do you like to do the thing you do at work when you get done with work? Because I don't know about you, but if I was doing taxes all day, the last thing I'd want to do is come home and do my taxes. If I was listening to people complain all day because I was in customer service, the last thing I'd want to do is come home and listen to people complain some more. It's still a discipline. It's still a process. And no matter who you are or where you're starting from, you can make this part of your process. Start small, figure out what little pieces you can add in and build upon it. Another thing that helps is having community, having accountability, having people in your life that are kind of on the same mission. And that is a big part of why CrossFit works. These big running clubs work, the rucking competitions and the Spartan races and all these different things, they work because of the community aspect. None of the exercise programming in any of those things is better than the other. Pick your poison. Pick what you enjoy. I don't think it matters. If you're an athlete, sure, that's different. But as an adult trying to be healthy, trying to be strong, I don't care what you do. I really don't. Just don't do something that's going to get you hurt, because then you're going to get sedentary, and that's a whole nother story. And we'll talk about that, I guess, later. But movement, find a community, find a place. If you need help with that, connect with me. I'd love to figure out what's the best fit for you. Not everybody's designed for a home gym. I'm wired weird. I like working out. I like suffering a little bit and doing things that make me uncomfortable. But even as that is the case, it's hard sometimes to get into the home gym. Even because it's just right out the door, there are things because I'm at home that take my attention, that distract me. So there are times where I wish my gym wasn't in the house or wasn't next to the house. It was a little bit further away. But yeah, this week I want you to try some stuff. I want you to start moving more. Figure out what your step count is right now on a normal average day without making any changes. See if you can add 1,000 steps. If that's easy, add 2. Up it. Challenge yourself. Start moving more. And tell me how that feels. That's a great place to start. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to check out some commercials. But when we come back, I'm going to show you my home gym setup. And so you guys can start to get a feel for what I'm working with, what that looks like, and maybe get some ideas for yourself. So we'll see you right after these commercial breaks.
What's up, everyone? This is Chris Fontana, founder of Go Primal Lifestyle and Fitness Apparel and host of the Primal Mindset Show on NGBN TV. Coming to you from Long Island, New York, with the transformative show that shares inspiring stories of overcoming adversity and embracing personal growth. Hosted by me, who has triumphed over immense challenges, including addiction, mental health struggles, and significant weight loss. This show features conversations with individuals who have conquered their own obstacles. Through heartfelt discussions, the Primal Mindset offers hope, guidance, and inspiration to listeners, encouraging them to persevere and never settle. Join us on this empowering journey of resilience and transformation as we share the stories of incredible individuals who have embraced the power of the Primal Mindset. Join us on NGBN TV.
Hey NGBN, it's Brian Jodas with Pick Up the Six Productions. Join us here at Pick Up the Six as we introduce you to the men and women among us who go above and beyond through service, purpose, and impact. Whether it's travel in the United States or right here from our studios, we can't wait to pick up the six with you.
Hey guys, what I wanted to do today is I want to take a moment to show you my home gym setup, because a lot of times I hear people asking about the equipment and gym memberships and finding all these different ways to make fitness happen. And what I've found is you don't need a lot to make it work. You just need to be consistent and you need to have the right equipment for your needs. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you around my tiny little home gym setup. Now, eventually I would love to add to this and expand it, because as a former gym owner and a personal trainer myself, I do find that I would love to explore more things. But that being said, I've been utilizing this space now since July when we moved in to this new house. And as you can see, we've still got a little bit of a mess that we're working through. We got some renovations going inside. We've got some stuff from the move. This spring, when the weather gets nicer, I'm gonna clean this out and I'm gonna readjust it. And I'll show you guys the gym again when I set it up in the coming months. But I do think that you can do a lot with a little. And so the idea here is to find the things that you need to make your gym setup work for you. First off, for me, I need a rack. I like squats, I like bench, I like deadlift, I like the big powerlifting 3. And so a rack was super important. But one of the things that I really wanted to make sure I had within my rack was a cable system, because cable systems are so diverse in their utility. And when you get something like this set up here that I have, where I have the rack and I have a cross cable setup, I've got multiple pulleys, I've got it's plate loaded, which was another thing that I was looking for, because I didn't want the extra weight on the rack, and I wanted to be able to utilize the weights and the plates that I had with the equipment that was presented to me, so that way I could save some money. Because ultimately my budget for this, because we were just moving, was small. So this whole setup is it's absolutely under $5,000. It may even be under $3,000. Now, I did get some things discounted. I got some things pre-sale, and let's just walk you around the gym a little bit here, and so you can see what I use. So first, we're going to head over here. We're going to look over at the Freak Athlete. This is a new product. It just came out. It is so awesome. It's a 6-in-1 multi-use GHD back extension, reverse hyper, sit-up, glute bridge, split squat machine. And it's well made, it's heavy duty, it's cost effective because you're getting 6 pieces for the price of 1. And for me, that's the big thing with a lot of this. When I go to purchase something, how many different ways can I use it? How often will I use it? And what capacity will it be of value to me? And so this piece here, I use it to warm up. I use it in my workouts. I use it on recovery days for certain types of lower intensity movements that I need to do to help repair and rebuild and regrow. And it's just it's a beautiful piece. I highly recommend it. And I think it's a piece that can fit in any home gym. And so that's a really cool thing about that piece. The other thing, like I mentioned before, the squat rack. My squat rack is from Bells of Steel. It's a nice squat rack. It's heavy duty enough. It has the cables attached to it, which is awesome. And I bought the attachment pieces so I can do rows, pull downs, tricep extension curls, cross cable flies. I mean, it's pretty much like a cross cable machine at a commercial gym. Now, I haven't bolted it down yet, so I don't get too crazy with the weight and doing some of the things where I'm extended away from the machine. But that's something for another day. And part of that's because I'm going to move this. This isn't going to always sit here, so I didn't want to bolt it down and have holes in my floor later. So that's something to consider too when you get a piece of equipment. Where's it going to go? How's it going to fit? And is it going to stay there forever? Because you don't want to bolt something down and then have to move it later. I got a couple barbells. One's a really cheap one I got. It does the trick for certain things, but I don't use it a whole lot. I use this other one from Bars of Steel a lot more, or Bells of Steel, sorry. And then I've got a number of plates and the attachments here on the wall. This is a good use for a pegboard. So if you have a pegboard in your garage, this is a really cool thing, is that you can set up an organizational system, and I'm still gonna kind of play around with this, but I've got my jump ropes, my pulleys, my clips, my attachments from Kensui that I can do for pull-ups, my ring attachments, my dips. I've got my straps and my wraps and my shoes, and everything's just kind of up and off the floor. And that's kind of one of the big things for me, is I want to minimize the mess on the floor, because it's a small space to begin with. So we got to make sure that I'm utilizing it appropriately. The other big thing outside of the bench that I'm sitting on, that I think that all home gyms can benefit from, is an adjustable dumbbell set. I think the adjustable dumbbells are awesome because they take up a very little amount of space, and depending on what you need, you can buy a smaller set or a larger set. For me, I got a larger set from Snowed. I got one that goes up to 80 pounds, and then I got the little attachment weights. As you can see here, I got these they're like 1.25 pounds, and I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. So I can get, a little bit more weight and put it on there and do whatever I need to do. Now, the one downside that I would say is that for me, 80 pounds isn't quite enough. So I will probably be adding some just standard dumbbells, some hex head dumbbells at some point in the future, so I can get, 90, 95, 100, 105, something in that range to do some of my exercises with. But for the time being, it does the trick, and it was cost effective. I get a lot of dumbbells for a lower price, and it doesn't take up any space. I mean, if you look at it, it's such a nice tiny little piece. One of the other things that I think you need to consider is, how are you going to do your conditioning and your cardio? I currently do not have a machine for that, so I'm not using a rower or an assault bike, which I would love to invest in at some point in the future, just because I think they're useful in a number of different ways. I currently am absolutely loving rucking, and I will probably show you some videos of that at some point, and what I do and how I use it. But essentially, if you're not familiar with rucking, you put a backpack on, you put some weight in it, you go for a hike, and you challenge yourself on distance and speed and weight. And it's a cardio strength exercise that I find to be awesome. I'm not a runner. I don't like to go for long distance runs. I'll walk for days. I'll be out in the woods forever. And this kind of combines my love of strength and gets me outside, which I also love, and then also provides me with some cardio, which I tend to avoid and don't really like. So if you're like me and you like to lift heavy things and you don't like to run, try rucking. It might be up your alley. So for me, I got this ruck from Go Ruck. It's one of the sand camo ones, and I've got a 45-pound plate in there. And if I want less, I just take that out and throw some crap in the backpack. It doesn't need to be overly complex. So the big thing here is find ways to utilize the space you have to get the most out of the workouts that you're doing. So this does the trick for me for now. Ultimately, I can add to it and I can grow it over time, and there's no end to the possibilities because it's my gym, it's my home, it's my space. You need to decide for yourself what matters most now. What do you need to hit to make sure that you're getting the most out of your workouts, and how are you going to utilize the space that you have? So if you can figure that out, or if you need any help, hit me up. I'd be happy to kind of walk through your space with you, talk to you about the types of workouts that you like to do, and then maybe we can piece together kind of a home gym workout space that's going to work best for you. And I think that that's the biggest thing about all of this, is that if you find the thing that you love, you'll come out and you'll do it. The hardest thing I'd say about having a home gym, and especially for me, first off, these walls aren't insulated. So all winter long, it is really chilly out here. That doesn't bother me. I've made fitness such a habit in my life that I'll work out in the cold, in the snow, in the rain, and whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're new to this, or you haven't built this routine, this habit, this desire to work out, make sure your space is something you will actually go to. Don't put it into a place that is like a bedroom or something that it's going to end up being a storage unit, because if you read the statistics, like 85% of treadmills turn into coat hangers or clothes hangers or whatever you want to, that it turns into an extra closet space. Let's not do that, right? Use the equipment you get, put it in a place that you're going to go, make sure that it's something that's accessible, and then make the habit of coming out into the space to use the equipment. So I hope this little rundown of my space helps you, gives you some ideas on how maybe you can utilize some of the small rooms or small spaces in your house. If you are looking to build a home gym, ultimately, if you're going to a commercial gym or you have a membership, cool. The exercises that we'll talk about and the things that I'm doing programming wise, you'll be able to apply in your own workouts wherever you're at. But I also think that as a busy dad, as somebody who wants to instill this into my kids' lives, doing it at home is fun for me, because if I sneak out on the weekend before a football game, my daughter comes out and she hangs out with me, and my son will do push-ups with me. And so it exposes them to the way I live my life. And that was something that was important to me. So that's why I invested in the equipment and not a gym membership. So I will say this isn't cheaper than going to a commercial gym. I want to make sure that that's clear. Now, it's comparable at times, but the bigger and the more expansive you get with your equipment, the less it equals what you'd be paying at a $15 to $20 a month membership. Because, for me at this point, $20 a month, let's just say, at $2,000, you're going to be a lot of months to pay that off. So you have to make sure that this is something you're going to commit to and you're going to do if you're going to build something in your house. So for now, I think that this is a good place to start to look at where you can build your gym, what you can do with your stuff. And we'll talk more after this commercial break.
Hey, I'm Micah McCreary.
And I'm Rich Fry, and welcome to Truex Outdoors,
The ultimate outdoor show.
So come tag along with us as we experience thrilling adventures in hunting and fishing.
From the mountains to the rivers, we'll bring you the most action-packed outdoor experiences.
Watch us now on NGBN TV.
Truex Outdoors.
We'd love to have you join us on the MD and Chef Team Show. I'm Chef Michael, culinary nutrition expert, and I'm joined by my beautiful wife, Isabel, medical doctor and suicide survivor.
Yes, I was dropped into that world 10 years ago. And what I've come to understand is that we're focusing on the wrong thing, the downstream event of mental illness. We should be focusing upstream to prevent the downstream event. And that's what we do.
So come join us on the MD and Chef Team Show.
Welcome to Tripping Through Transformation. I'm your host, Guillaume Poirier, and I'm inviting you on a journey that will expand your outlook on life. Join me as we delve into the realms of mental health, resilience, personal growth, community, and alternative healing. Through personal narratives and expert insights, we'll explore the transformative power of shared stories. Get ready to escape from narrow perceptions and dive into a world of diverse perspectives. Tripping Through Transformation is where stories become pathways to empowerment.
Hello and welcome back to another movement of the week. This week I'm moving from the upper body to the lower body, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite lower body movements. And by favorite, I mean I hate it the most, but it works the best type of movements that you can start to implement in your own workouts. The nice thing about this workout is there's a lot of ways to do it. The split squat is the workout I'm talking about. And there are a magnitude of ways to make it easier or harder depending on your fitness level and where you're starting. Essentially, a split squat is just a stationary lunge. So we can start in this position here, and we can just go up and down without a step. And that's part one. From there, I have this beautiful freak athlete, Nordic Hyper, which comes with a
attachment piece on the machine that allows for me to do a rear foot elevated split squat. And this is typically how I do my split squat. I will elevate my back foot. It puts a lot of emphasis on the front leg, and essentially it's an assisted single leg squat. Okay, so from this position here, I can then get into my split squat position and drop into my lunge phase and drive up. The reason why it's not a lunge and it's a squat is because squatting, you're stationary, you're not moving forward, backwards, side to side. A lunge requires you to take a step. So if you are stationary, it's a squat. If you're moving, it's a lunge. That's the terminology I like to use. I'm sure people in the fitness industry, because we don't have great consistency across our terminology, you might hear it called something different. A lot of people will call this a Bulgarian split squat. I just use split squat. I don't think that there's a reason to classify it as Bulgarian or anything else. However, there are a lot of ways to load this exercise. And again, this is one of the reasons why I like it so much, is because you can single dumbbell, you can double dumbbell, you can front rack it, you can put a barbell on your back, you can do a front load with the barbell. Each of these different load points puts a little bit different tension on the front leg and puts a little bit of different stress on the development of the strength that you're gaining. The other thing I like about this is the stabilization of being on one foot, the isolation of the glute, hamstring, quad of that front leg. And while it's not exact, you know, it's almost like doing double the amount of weight that you would, that you're holding, if that makes sense. So here's what I'm saying. If I'm holding this bar on my back and doing a split squat, it would be equivalent to doing double this amount in a standard squat. Again, not exact. The back leg is giving me some help, but I can do a whole lot more load for my leg with a lot less stress on my back. And for me, as I get older, one of the things that I've noticed is that if I do too many heavy squat weeks in a row, I feel that compressive force. I feel that load being placed on me. The other thing that's nice is that I can get a lot of weight for my legs to work. And if I don't own a lot of weight, I can get really strong really fast without having to buy more weight. So there are some benefits to doing the split squat versus a traditional squat. But ultimately, I think that you need to try to work in all of the different types of squats to maximize your training, to maximize your athleticism, to keep you feeling younger, stronger, and getting all the things that you need. So for this week, throw this into your workout. If you've never done it before, you won't need a whole lot of extra weight. You may not need any extra weight. Just feel the movement. If you are comfortable and familiar with this movement, try loading it in some different ways. If you're used to using double dumbbell, try a single, try a front rack, put it on your back if you feel safe enough to. Make sure you have some safeties up. You know, when I use my back squat version, I will put my safety bars up just in case, you know, you never want to be stuck in a bad place. But again, I'm gonna show you one more time. Here's how this movement looks. But we're gonna take this position here, front foot out. We're gonna control, drive to the bottom, explode up. Control, explode up. Focus on heel staying in the ground, using your glutes to explode from the bottom, and give this one a shot. I think you're gonna like it. Again, a lot of focus on that front leg, a lot of leg development, doesn't need a lot of load. Give it a shot in your next workout, and we'll see you in the gym.
Hope you enjoyed that movement tip of the week. Thank you for joining me again for another episode of The Everyday Father. Keep working hard, guys. Find a way to include health and fitness into your life. Without it, we don't get to our best. I believe that firmly, that we need this movement. We need these exercises. We need to be healthy, strong, and fit. And the best way to do that is to find a way to include your kids, find a way to include it into the busyness of your life. Make it simple. Do what you can to piece it together as you need to. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Keep working hard. We'll see you guys next week.